Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 51 of our Sports Tech Weekly. This is the first of a slightly different format of the show. This is a recorded episode now, no longer live. Brought to you at a new time as well, noon on Friday CET or CEST now. Apparently, daylight savings means we have more time in the day. Anyway, so the reason we're moving to this recorded format is, we lose the live interaction of the chat, which has been active on and off, but hopefully this improves our production and makes the episode smoother and easier for you to watch. Of course, we will keep improving the episode as we go on. So if you have any suggestions, any feedback, please do share it with us. All right, with that said, I'm going to jump right into the news of the week. First up, we have, instead of top funding deals, we have top acquisitions this week, because there have been quite a few and some interesting ones as well. Starting with Fanatics, they have, of course, been raising a ton of money over the last few years. They have now come into Europe with the acquisition of a EPI, I should say, which will now be rebranded as Fanatics Italy and become part of Fanatics Commerce Division. What is EPI? They are essentially a sports merchandising company founded in 1996 as mail order service for sports merchandise. They are now in e-commerce and provide, let's say, e-commerce merchandising services for AC Milan, Atalanta, Bologna, Fiorentina, Inter Milan, Juventus, Lazio, a bunch of Serie A teams, of course, and with other partners as well. So with this, Fanatics expands its sports merchandising portfolio into Europe. Next up, we have Entain, who acquired a sports media business called 365 Scores. Entain, of course, have been really active in the last couple of years. They've acquired, since I think 2020 or 21, I'm not sure, is when the Unicorn deal was. But after that, they acquired BetCity, Supersport. BetCity is the Dutch. Supersport is a Croatian company, if I'm not mistaken, the Sports Player, which is from New Zealand. These are all different types of either sports betting or sports betting enablement companies providing odds and such. Now they have acquired a different type of business called 365 Scores. 365 Scores essentially provides news, basically live scores and updates, match lineups, things like the transfer news, things like that. This is in a deal worth $150 million. 365 Scores has 15 million active users. That's why it's cost them a nice chunk of change. And they want to further expand their global strategic ambitions, is what Entain is doing. Watch out, these guys are gunning for some big names and continue to grow, it seems. The third acquisition deal is one from India. A company called Spolto is acquiring a company called The Coach Crew. Coach Crew is essentially a platform, I think this graphic explains it, where you can find a coach or a place to play your sports, a field, a court, an arena of some sort, a pitch. So that's what Coach Crew does. Spolto, who raised 5.5 crores Indian INR, which is about a little north of 600K USD, which is a sports tech startup which has origins in India, but also Sweden. So it's based in Pune, India, and Gothenburg, Sweden. And they're looking to make it easier for Indians to connect with coaches and academies through the acquisition of the Coach Crew. Right. Those are, and some nice shots of the various teams involved. That's a Spolto team. Okay. All right. So that is our acquisition news. Next up is actually a news story that I forgot to cover last week, which is my bad completely. We messed up as a team a little bit. So it's slightly old news, but definitely worth mentioning. This is a fund called More Collective, set up to invest in women's sports. This will invest in women's teams, leagues, organizations to drive change. That is Angel City founder Kara Nortman, and of course Jasmine Robinson, a friend of ours at SportsTech. She's been featured in our content before from her previous firm, Causeway Media Partners. But now they've also raised money from a bunch of, let's say, top names. Billie Jean King, who's been a major advocate for women's sports and equality in sports, especially in sports in gender pay gaps, or addressing gender pay gaps. Their roster also includes people from the 49ers, from various VC firms, from Netflix, so on. Yeah. And I think their comment is pretty simple, is to show the world, this is the dream of Monarch, to show the world that fans will pay as much to watch women as they will to watch men, says Nortman. Powerful dream, and full props to these amazing women, and hope their fund continues to grow and continues to fund women's sports. We won't need to see more such initiatives. All right, that is number 4. Number 3, we have LaLiga and SportBoost, our friends in Madrid, who announced the winners of their fan engagement challenge. They announced this challenge last year around this time. I think it was May or June of last year when they announced the challenge. And now they've selected a company called 4D Replay. It's a Korean startup. This is 4D Replay. Essentially, what they do is immerse plays of, well, I don't know if immersive is the right word, but they provide multi-angle views of replays. So they basically take you in to the replay, providing it from a 360-degree experience. So multi-angle highlights to various professional sports and so on. They have been doing for a while and for quite a few companies. I'm going to show you the client roster, which includes ESPN, CBS, like a bunch of A-list broadcasters, the NBA, the Warriors, the Dodgers, the NHL. Quite a client roster there already. You can see that they're based in Seoul originally, also offices in Tokyo and San Francisco. So through the partnership, 4D Replay will work with LaLiga, I presume, to provide the same 4-dimensional replays that they do for other service providers. It builds, so Minerva Santana, the LaLiga's Director of Innovation, says that its technology builds on one of LaLiga's key objectives, which is offering interactive, increasingly personalized viewing experience for our audiences. It's all about the fan experiences, guys. This is a theme that has been carrying on for sports tech for the last 12 to 18 months for sure, that all leagues, all sports teams, in general, sports in general, is investing in a big way in fan experiences. A lot of that comes from Web3, but a lot of that comes from broadcasting experiences as well. All right, that is the third story. Another, let's say, fan experience or enhancement, this time using AI. IBM and the Masters are going to use generative AI to create commentary across the tournament. This is a really interesting story, and I really like this story because this is one of the really good use cases. Now, what are they going to do? Basically, there will be commentary for over 20,000 video clips at the Masters this year. And the problem is fairly simple. There are only that many commentators that you can hire for any sort of event. But at a course which has about, I think it's 156 golfers or whatever it is, 160 golfers that are competing at the same time. Everybody has different people that they want to watch. It's impossible for the commentator to talk about everyone. It's impossible for the broadcaster to show everyone, right? So if you want to follow a player, especially the best holes or something, how do you might be able to get the footage. You might have a broadcaster which provides you click on the red button and follow your player kind of thing. But the image or the visual image without the commentary feels very bland and flat. You're not getting much information, especially with you as the viewer have no context to what has happened before or about the hole and so on. AI can provide that context. In sports commentary, we don't have to go into how important it is to that experience. But generative commentary can provide that context. So you can imagine that, as it says over here, they're going to avoid redundant sentences and repetition to make the clips informative and engaging. So you can imagine that they will be using a lot of data, a lot of stats in this commentary. We also know that generative voice, AI generative voice, is not robotic at all. Like, these can be really engaging with a lot of tonal variation as well. So I can imagine this could be quite a hit, and especially for things like the Olympics, when there is so much events where there is a lot happening at the same time that the camera cannot focus on, or the commentators certainly cannot focus on. These kind of these kind of areas is where generative AI can really, really help. Kudos to IBM, who've been doing this for a while. They've been doing AI in highlights. We've seen that a lot in different areas, but now AI commentary, I think, is a really interesting use case. All right. And I think it says here, IBM has been a partner with the Masters for over 20 years to create custom solutions that improve the user experience and capture the attention of millions of fans globally. Similar, different words from Jonathan Adeshak to Minerva Santana, but very similar theme. Okay, that is my number 2 story for the week. Number 1. Oops, I haven't changed the headline. Let me, quickly do that. Sorry, guys. I'll brief you on the story in the meantime. So it's all about FIFA versus EA Sports and the new FIFA game, which is about to come out. There you go. There's the headline, right up. So FIFA has debuted. I talked about production issues. It'll be much smoother. Cheers. Thanks for that. FIFA debuts its mobile game. All right. This is their first game, I believe, since they broke away from EA Sports. So this is FIFA versus EA Sports, is what the story is about. FIFA debuted its first mobile game, which is a Web3 based game. So it's on blockchain. It says by a company called Altered State Machine. Also plan to add NFTs. So what exactly is the game? It's a bit of a fantasy meets cartoon characters kind of ways. I think FIFA realizes that they cannot use, of course, they've lost the rights, commercial rights, to use the name, image, likeness of players, teams, etc. So they've gone into a different direction, which I will give them points for. I think it's a nice way, a nice theme to catch on, kind of using cartoonish images like the ones that you see here. They've launched an open beta version of World Cup AI League, a 4v4 soccer strategy game, which leverages AI and a bunch of other gameplay elements. So Web3 firm Altered State Machine developed this game, which is available only on Android right now. That's where the test is. So it says it's an expansion of their prediction game. They're basically cartoonish characters who do a bunch of stuff, and you have to select your players and you get some points based on how they perform. So it's a bit of a manager player fantasy game format. I haven't checked out the game myself yet, but yeah, there you go. This will lead to gaming in the metaverse, and they will launch some NFTs at some point. Yeah, that list will go on. Interesting that this is separate from their partnership with Algorand, where they already do a lot of NFTs on their FIFA Plus Collect platform. So that's what FIFA announced earlier this week. This was just a couple of days ago. Last week, EA Sports announced, of course, that there'll be a new FIFA, no longer called FIFA, called EAFC 2024. And this is what they leaked. They dropped their logo. You can see a little evolution of the game. Yeah, you can see the evolution of the game over the years, and what it will be. And come, I believe, September or October of this year is when the game will be announced. So not too much information, but they will all have the same themes that it has before: the Ultimate Team, career mode, online gameplay, and so on. You cannot imagine that the game will not improve as it has consistently over the last few years. Time will tell whether FIFA will come to rue their end of their agreement with EA Sports. but at least for now, the FIFA version of a game, which was originally FIFA, now called EAFC, will continue to grow strongly. All right, that is a wrap for our show this week. 15 minutes. I'm trying to keep this time a bit tighter. So I'm sorry if we're rushing through stories. Please reach out if you want more context. You can always get in touch with us. We have our new report coming out. This is our last one that we published, our VC report. Our latest report will be coming out at the end of this month. So stay tuned for that one. It's a global sports tech ecosystem report. Always have partnership options if you're interested in being featured.